Oh my God. I have. Holy. It's been a few. Holy hell, I can't even speak right now. It's been far too many days since I've gotten a stream in. And we're here, live. Um, yeah, dude, the weekend must have been so tough for me that I just got a ton of sleep last night. I passed out at seven o'clock last night. Went to bed, put my head down, fell asleep. Went to bed 7 o'clock. I was planning on doing a stream yesterday around like 9 o'clock. Passed out, woke up at about 3:30, and finally rolled out of bed at 5. And I'm like, fuck it, let me go live. Let me hop on before I got to go to work today. Um, yeah, so I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to go with this. A lot going on. We got March Madness. We got, you know, a lot of shit going on. um, what sucks ass right now is obviously I'm a big St. John's guy. Love the St. John's Red Storm. Love college basketball. That's like my favorite thing, favorite activity, favorite. John's is right on the East Coast this weekend. They are playing in the Sweet 16, right in Washington D.C. And if I wanted to go to D.C. for even one day, I could take the day. Like I could leave Friday, you know, get on a train, get on forget it. I'm not getting on a fucking airplane right now. That would be like an airplane. Like by the time you fucking get through TSA, by the time you do all that, by the time you get through, you know, by the time you finally get through fucking security and get to your flight, like you could have been on a train for fucking 4 hours. So I'm not doing that. To take the train to DC, to get a hotel, to get tickets to the game, to do all of that shit, it costs about like over $1,000 right now. For if I went for one day, and go for one day, turn around and come back Saturday. It would just be like for one fucking single day to go and see my beloved St. John's Red Storm play a little college basketball, play a game against Duke, which I get. Listen, you're on the East Coast. It's Washington D.C. Both schools or all four of the schools really. I guess Michigan State not so much, but you know, UConn, St. John's. It's not very hard to get to Washington D.C. from either area. Duke is obviously pretty I wouldn't say that close to DC, but close enough where it's a pretty simple trip. So I get it. It's not like ridiculous why it's understandable why the tickets are so, you know, expensive because you need to buy like two sessions. You got four fan bases trying to get the same tickets, and it's just like it's a mess, man. It's a complete mess. I've been looking into it. I would love to go, but not that I couldn't drop $1,000 right now. It's like the return on investment there is just not. It's not it. It's not there. Like to go do all that shit. Pay for all these meals, do all this for one day for one college basketball game. It's not it. Not it at all. I'm not doing it. So I will be here. I'll be watching the game in New York. Besides the point, I will be at opening day for the Mets. So a lot to do in 2 days. Like it would be a little bit much if I tried to do all that shit in you know in a 2 day span. And as I'm telling this story, Nathan comes in here and asks, "How gay are you?" 0%. Uh, but what a start. The hat. I'm gonna steal it. Listen, Chris. You could do one of two things. You could come over here. You could try to steal my hat. You can do that. You can absolutely make an attempt. I will not let this hat go easily. Or you could just buy it at nogginboss.com, a company that does not sponsor me, a company that I should stop plugging for free. And, you can tell them I sent you over there. But one or two, to each your own, man. Uh, yeah, so it's been it's just like it sucks, man. Because like I feel like for most sports, man, it's like pretty much an all sports thing at this point that like fans are getting fucking Addy like Adderall. um, let's see. I know what you mean by Addy, and I'm not giving you it. I'm a snatch that head. St. John's losing next game. Nate, I, I feel like St. John's is probably the best chance that Duke is not going to make it to the national championship game at this point. I don't think it's a good matchup for Duke. I think Duke. you know, they turn the ball over a little too much. St. John's is brings that pressure that around the perimeter. You're a loser, bro. All right, you can't even like you. That would be you are. Stay in school there, Alfred. Make sure your mom makes you a good lunch so you can be have enough nutrition at school today, my guy. Um, Let him, dude. I don't give a shit. Um, my what do you call it? It's if anybody's gonna beat them on the way there, in my opinion, it's gonna be St. John's. If not, I don't think Duke's getting stopped till the national championship game. Get a life, bum. Nice. Um, a guy sitting here at 5 in the morning in my live stream, not doing anything productive, just sitting here talking to me. That is what it is, man. To each their own. A lot of people hate their lives. People like King Alfred, he's gonna come in here and try to bring me down. That is what it is, dude. His life is football. What's your life? That's not my life is football. No, I'm getting ready for work. I'm just up right now. I was supposed to stream last night. I was supposed to do a 9 o'clock stream, but I passed out so early, dude. I box all my life, brother. I don't really give a shit. That's like for what? Um, you not taking me? See, that's the funniest thing about the internet is people like King Alfred come in here. Oh, I'm a boxer. I'm a lifelong boxer. Like I don't care. Like good. Um, King Alfred, do you want to go on a date with me? That's a good question. Listen, you should take Nate up on that. Ice Babby. What's going on? I'm pretty sure you meant to go Ice Baby, but a couple extra B's in there. And yet I'd knock you out. Listen, nobody's knocking anybody out here. It's always my favorite thing. People come in here. All you do is yap. You're not a tough guy. You got to learn how to spell, man. You must have been hitting the fucking head a little bit too much. Your grammar is fucking miserable, dude. That's the best. Like I won't. I don't stoop down to the level of morons. So I'm just not gonna go there, King Alfred. Like you definitely get hit in the head a little bit too much. Maybe you're not that good at boxing. You're a good guy. Thanks, Dabbling. I appreciate that. Means a lot. We got the best of both worlds. I got one guy telling me I'm not a tough guy. Rest in peace, John Gotti. He's first of all, did he just pass away, or has he been like? Hold on. Okay, never mind. I saw breaking news pop up on SportsCenter. I thought something happened. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Yeah, Chuck Norris was, I was surprised how old he was. I didn't he's one of those guys that everything you see him in, he's so young. I was very shocked when I saw how old he was. Who would win in a fight, Iron Man or the Terminator? Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I got to be honest, Obtuse. I don't think I have a good answer for you there. Um, I think that's one for somebody who's a little bit more of an expert on that. If I had to guess, I'd say Iron Man, but Chuck Norris was a publicity stunt. What do you mean? How many ice cubes can you fit in your ass? That's crazy. Um, Iron Man. I would probably guess Iron Man. My bet would be Iron Man, but I don't know. I don't really know much about the Terminator. I don't watch a lot of movies, so I don't know. I like the Jets. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Ice Babby. You and me both. I like the Jets too, and it's a miserable fucking existence. Thoughts on World War III? I don't think it's here yet, but I think it's coming. Seems like it. Iron Man. Like I said, I'm not a big superhero movie guy. I'm not a big movie guy in general. I've never even seen the Terminator, honestly. Um, so I'm not the expert there. I'm not somebody who should be answering on that. Browns destroy the Jets. They don't. The Browns don't destroy anybody. Chuck Norris killed 40 people by tossing a grenade and then it exploded. Yeah, the Chuck Norris jokes, that was the thing for a little bit. You know who was fucking super obsessed with that shit? My dad. My dad was a maniac with Chuck Norris jokes for a while, and I was like, Dad, come on. When I was in middle school, he would send me one every fucking hour. And I'm like, come on, man. Get a different angle here. Dang, not an expert. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in when it comes to, you know, Terminator versus Iron Man. I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy to ask because I really don't know. I couldn't give you any sort of opinion on it. I can't break it down. I don't know. Um, I don't know much about either one, to be honest. If we're sitting here, and I'm not gonna lie to you about that. Keep lying. Your team is the absolute bottom of the NFL. It's sad even Cleveland has beat you. I mean, has you beat? Not really. Got any tips on how I could fart louder than my girlfriend? She put me to shame. I don't know. Maybe eat some gassier foods. I'd say eat spicier shit. Maybe put hot sauce on everything you eat. I think that's not a bad idea. Um, you know, maybe yeah, I don't know. I would just eat spicier foods and shit. I would make shit. I would eat shit that would really fuck up your stomach. What's going on, Big Hat? Johnny B? What's up, man? Uh, fuck. Dude, I gotta crack my fucking more fiber. Yeah, more fiber just makes you shit more. Does it make you? Does it make you fart more? I feel like the gas and the farting comes from like, you know, little spice in your life. Chuck Norris didn't have a bear carpet. He just had a bear that was too scared to get up. Yeah, that shit. That like, my dad used to spam me with that shit all day, every day. Like, you know, when somebody's like super, super obsessed with something, super like, that's how my father was with that. But it is what it is. But I'm gonna fuck her room up tomorrow. There you go, wild boy. Um, yeah, it's a good idea. Uh, that sucks that she's putting you to shame though, there, brother. The fiber makes your poop solid, so you don't gotta wipe as much. Yeah, but he's trying to fart louder. He's not. He's not necessarily sitting here trying to get more fiber. He's not trying to like. That's not what's fucking him up. So yeah, no, you're right though. That's always the best when you get like, you get a nice solid. You don't have to like waste too much time. Get in and out. Connor, what's up, man? I know, just saying it's good knowledge. No, absolutely. I don't think it helps his problem. Chuck Norris died 20 years ago. I just got here. Are we talking about poo? Yeah, somebody was asking how to fart louder, and somehow we got into like how to make your poop, more solid. That's just how it is. Connor, I'm chilling, man. I slept like a fucking baby last night. I fell asleep at 7:30 last night, and it's 5 a.m. So I must have been a little sleep deprived there. Pork chop, what's up, man? Um, yeah, must have been a little sleep deprived. I was planning on going live at like 9 o'clock last night, and I just passed out. And here I am. I'm watching it. Um, I haven't seen it, but it seems like a really good movie. You're just watching scary movies. You know what? I don't know what it is with me. I'm not a big scary movie. I'm not really a movie guy in general. What do you think of the NBA expansion talk? I think it's a good thing, Pork Chop. I think, there's cities that deserve teams. Obviously, Seattle's one of them. Vegas is one of them. I think it's good for the NBA. I think it's good to grow the game a little bit, move it around different cities. And I strongly disagree with guys like Tracy McGrady saying there's not enough talent. I think there's too much talent in basketball right now. Now, granted, adding any teams, like adding, expansion to anything is going to water down some of the bad teams, but that's just the way things go. It's going to water down some of the good teams as well. Chris, thanks for the 100 and thanks for the GG. Appreciate that. But I'm good with it. I think Seattle's deserved the team back for years now. I think Vegas is becoming a big time sports city. It's good for the NBA. It's good for the market. Absolutely. Um, I'm gonna go to sleep, but you have a great day, dude. Have fun at work. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that, man. And thanks for the Sunday. We're gonna lose the Bears to Indiana. Shaking my head. Now, how far away is where the Bears going from Chicago? Because I'm not very familiar with the situation and why they're even moving to Indiana in the first place. It's not shocking that they're getting out of Chicago and the city, like the inner city or whatever. But to go to Indiana, I'm not really familiar with the situation. I get it, I get it. Indiana's a border state with Illinois, and it's right there. That makes sense to me. But how far away from Chicago is it? It doesn't seem like it's that close. Seattle is going to be hard to attract free agents with their millionaire tax. I didn't know Seattle had a millionaire tax. I thought all these years Washington's one of the states that has no income tax, doesn't it? And now all of a sudden they have a millionaire tax. That kind of screws everything up. I always thought Washington was one of those states that was like, you know, I always thought it was just one of those states. I will say, obviously Seattle's a big market. Vegas is a massive market. I think it's just good. But you're right. If that's the case, I didn't even know that was a thing. Hey, handsome, what's up, friends? Man, that confusing. What do you mean? About an hour and a half driving, like 40 minutes by train. Bears want tax exemption for 3 years. That's crazy. Now, that's a far ass drive from Chicago. That's basically changing cities entirely, in my opinion. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't understand that. Why does California have 4 teams? Why does California have 4 teams in the NBA? Because it's a big state, a lot of space. Um, like any millionaire in Washington is taxed 10%. I did not know that. That's news to me. Because all this time, they were one of those states like the income tax. They would talk about it with the NHL, where the Kraken were one of the teams that had an advantage. That must be a new thing because I was very unaware of that. Which country takes zero tax? Which country? I don't know. Love from Iraq. What's up, Shan King? because California has 20% of the population of America. That's the thing. California is a massive state. There's a lot of big markets in California. It makes perfect sense. Like I totally get it. What's surprising is that there's two teams in Los Angeles. Like, there's plenty of cities. They could move. The Clippers could be in like San Diego, and it would make a lot more sense. I question 20% people have been leaving California for decades. I don't think it's 20% of the population. I don't know if it's that many, but you have. I don't know if Sacramento's really that major of a market. I'm actually surprised that the Kings have survived in Sacramento as long as they have. Um, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know. I'm surprised Sacramento's been there for a while. Cheers! I'm drinking a beer right now. Nice, man. Must be fucking sick. I wish I was having a beer right now. But I gotta get ready for work soon. Are you from the U.S. or U.K., the United States? It is odd to me that like I said, Sacramento having a team for that long doesn't make a lot of sense. What the fuck is Chris Kyle? What? Only bad thing for Vegas team is due to the nature of the city. There's a lot of tourists and people come and go. There won't be real loyal fans. Frank, like there definitely be. I think there will definitely be loyal fans there. But I think the problem is the tourists. Like it makes it like I went to I went to Vegas for the Islanders and Knights when I was out there, and there were a ton of Islander fans there. I think it's more so you kind of lose home field. You kind of lose the home advantage in a place like Vegas because it's such a tourist destination, like you said. And I guess in turn, like there's not a ton of people that live in but there's enough people that live in the Vegas area. They have a passionate fan base. They do. It's just a very tourist based area where anybody like when their team goes, hey, let's go to Vegas. Let's head to Vegas for a trip. There's not really anything in Nevada besides Reno and Vegas. Yeah, but I mean, it's a big enough city nowadays, and especially like the gambling aspect of everything, pork chop. It's like it's almost makes too much sense to get people into Vegas. Like get a team there. I'm not against it. I think Vegas is such like I said, it's a tourist destination. And it's like a show. It's easy no matter what. The Vegas teams, if the Vegas teams are bad, people are going to be in attendance there. The attendance numbers are still going to be fine because it's just like any other Vegas show. It's just going to be something to do when you're there. Is this a punishment? What do you mean? Show me your chocolate starfish. Salute. Glad I could be of service. Hell yeah. Pot roast. You're my favorite LGBTQ commenter. There you go. Yeah, the city is expanding a lot. There's a lot of outside the strip and casinos nowadays. It's definitely expanding for sure. Like you said, Vegas used to be just the strip and then like a dump. And now I feel like people are starting to move out there. That's another state with the income tax. It's another income tax state where like people are tending to move out there to, protect their income. Would you want to live in Vegas with how hot it is? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't want to live anywhere near Vegas. It's it's incredibly hot, dude. I went there last year in June. Um, went with my mom, right? And I got there a couple hours before my mom did. So I was like, you know what? Let me go for a walk. That was my plan. I was going to go for a walk. I stepped outside and went right back in. I'm like, nope, you know what? I'm just going to walk around the casino. I'm just going to walk around the fucking mall and the casino. It was so unbearably hot that I couldn't live there. I wouldn't be able to do it. Vegas looks fun, but it's like a dystopia. It really is like you want to talk about a place where where dreams go to die. Like it is as fun as it is. Vegas is a great time. Being in Vegas more than 2 days is too much. Texas has some of the worst heat I've been around. Florida is in its own world too. Florida's tough. Like Florida's heat is brutal. Texas, yeah. I was in Austin one year, and same thing. The heat was fucking miserable. You're right about that. Texas has tough heat, but I think the Vegas heat that I felt was probably the worst. That was the most intense heat I've ever felt in my life. Vegas has thousands living under the city in sewers. Yeah, I mean, they are a big time sewer city. They do have a very underground presence. I guess it's probably a mixture of people that went there and their dreams died. There's a lot of homeless in Vegas. I mean, it adds up, man. Vegas is a place. Like I said, it's very easy to get sucked into things. There's people who have problems. And we've talked about gambling issues here. I've talked about it plenty. It's a real issue. It's a bad issue. And especially when you got a city where it's just that's the only thing to do, it tends to, create more people who have financial issues. Vegas is like Dubai. It's a dream only for the rich. Exactly. To be in Vegas, to live in the Vegas area, to spend a lot of time in Vegas, you have to have a lot of money. To trap, you bet everything and lose it all. That's what the city's built on. People forget Vegas was built in 60 years. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's the problem that people, they're there. all this gambling is in their face constantly, 24 hours a day, and it absolutely creates financial issues for people that can't handle themselves. I've also been of the belief, that if you're somebody that can spend all that money on a game of chance, I think it's a little bit of an IQ issue too. But it's definitely a problem. It's a problem that sucks, and people who are out there, they're if you can't keep yourself out of that area, you're almost destined to lose. Bro, that hat's too small. Thanks, man. I know. You make me feel self-conscious when you say shit like that. Sports betting is fine, but any small town you throw a casino in will cause problems. Absolutely. Dude, pork chop. I mean, you're a Long Island guy, right? Or you're like of the area. Like I the fucking Jake's 58 casino on Long Island. Like it's about it's about 25 minutes away from me. And I've been there like once or twice. I went there. First time I went there was just to check it out. Second time I went with a couple of my friends. That place is a fucking oh, no wait, yeah, that place it's the only casino on Long Island, and that place every night is jam packed, and it's the biggest scam. It's the biggest scam on earth. Like the place is such a fucking everything's electronic. Any casino is a scam, by the way. But you see all these people that go in there. I watch people like fucking rinse, like you see people hit the ATM 3 or 4 times, and it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing with yourself? It's like I said, I think obviously gambling there's an issue. There's an issue with gambling. I get it. People can't help themselves. Like you said, sports betting I think is a fine thing. Like you can at least do research and have like an idea of what you're doing. If you walk into a casino and you keep doing games of chances, like especially electronic games of chances, like there is a little bit of an issue of you got to be thinking a little bit straighter than that. Like, and I get it. People can't help themselves. I'm not trying to like dumb down the issue of gambling, but there's definitely an IQ thing there too. There just is. It's just the way it is, man, and it sucks. Have you heard of ayahuasca? I have. I'd love to go on a retreat, but I get drug tested for work. I'd say gambling addiction is worse than drugs or alcohol. I agree. Try ayahuasca, cure your addiction. I don't have it, but the fact that Vegas hasn't been fully built out like a proper city is all you need to know. Why is a strip of casinos the replacement for a proper downtown? You up there with food addiction, hard to avoid. It's easy to stay away from drugs. Exactly. Yeah. No, John, you're 100% right. Like, the fact that it's just like every single spot is a casino, it's a city that's built on people's vice. Like, it's genuinely an area that has been expanded and created by, taking advantage of a horrific vice. I'm not trying to sit here and dumb down the idea that gambling is a tough addiction. My thing is just I can't figure out like I think there's a point to it where like you should be able to look yourself in the mirror and go, hey, this game of chance that I'm playing, this roulette that I'm playing and ruining my paycheck, like it's pretty fucking dumb. But I get it. People have problems, and a city like Vegas exploits that. The Strip is not Vegas downtown, but actual downtown is also a bunch of casinos. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, obviously the Strip, but the Strip is the main area. When I think downtown, I always think main area. Like, I'm not thinking like I get what you're saying, but you're right. It's all just casinos. I can't have a gambling addiction. I lose $10 and get pissed. That's the same thing with me. Like I made a casino vlog recently, and like I lost like $300, which like I brought it to lose, but it sucked ass. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I see these streamers that make vlogs that are like 20 minutes long, and I'm like, holy fuck, like these guys are just losing. Like, I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I bring money when I go to casinos. Like, I like to go to casinos. I like to do it. You bring a couple $100 because it's part of the activity. Like, anywhere you go on vacation, you're gonna do activities like that. It sucks ass when you lose. Like, I hate it. Like, I don't like the only games I really enjoy playing are like, and it's really not even fun, is like blackjack, because it's the only game you could even sit there and go, hey, there's some sort of strategy to this, and really not that much. Like other than that, like games like I don't understand people that can sit there and play slot machines. That's the biggest fucking scam on planet Earth. I had a buddy who was addicted to gambling. He worked in a casino in Vegas. He now lives in his car in San Diego. That's terrible, man. Like I said, I just don't understand. Like from my perspective, I get it. There's people with a problem and they can't like logic and they can't rationalize the idea. But you know, having to sit there and go play a game of chance over and over again, like a roulette, like anything, is just crazy to me. Do you think the Mickey Moosey guy or whatever his name is legit? I don't even know who that is. Mickey Moosey. Um, I don't know. Is he like a professional gambler or whatever? Is that the guy? That's not the guy that like figured out slot machines, right? Because I don't think any of that shit's legit. I think like AK-47, top 15 small forward of all time. Andre Kirilenko, I don't know about 15, but definitely a very underrated guy. Jonathan, what's up, man? My mom watches on YouTube literally just a slot playing over and over. He's a pro gambler. I don't know who he is. I actually never heard of him, but Frank, there is a good, there's a good niche on YouTube of watching guys who like go to the casino. One of my favorite YouTubers right now is Bretsky, a guy who like goes to play slot machines every day. Like, I enjoy watching that shit from a distance because I live vicariously through it. It's like it's fun watching somebody else lose all their money, but like that those guys you watch, like those legit guys who go to the casino and lose all the time. There should be like a perfect example of like there's no such thing as anybody that figured anything out. He's a pro gambler. Like I said, anybody who's like a professional, like listen, sports. I don't think professional sports bettors are really that common either. Like, there's so many fucking factors. I don't trust anybody that says they're a professional gambler. Um, One of the best pure defense catch and shoot small forwards of all time. I just don't know. Pork chop. I'd have to look at it and see. Like, I don't know if he'd be top 15. Maybe he is. Like, maybe I'm underestimating like how many good small forwards there's been of all time. But he was certainly like a guy that wasn't talked about enough during that time. And I think it probably had a lot to do with the West Coast bias and the fact that he was a Utah Jazz player. But Andre Kirilenko was phenomenal. What is the thing that most people misunderstand about you and your personality? I think people think I take myself a little too seriously. Like, obviously I'm wearing this big dumbass hat. Like, I don't know, man. I think people think like I'm like people come in here and try to rage bait me, and I don't really care. Like, I think it's more so that I think like I'm not a very serious guy. I'm a very like, I like to fuck around, like, sort of thing. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, we talk about serious topics here, but I like to have a fucking good time. Let's see, go Chiefs, nice. But what she watches is not a person playing; it's just a virtual slot or something. I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know, man. That definitely like sets something off. Small forwards are and power forwards are probably the worst position historically, besides like the seven. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that, pork chop. It's probably like forwards in general. Like, I think you're right. They're probably the least like. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to like make a definitive list and then try to decide where he'd be. Um, but definitely a very underrated guy. Andre Kirilenko was a phenomenal player. But to say he's top 15 all time, I don't think I would say that definitively without looking it up ahead of time. But we'll see. Um, no, dude, it's just crazy to me. Like, and I'll say like I'm not trying to downplay gambling and like the addiction of it, but I just think like you got to be a little bit smarter than to think like all these games of chances. You walk into a casino like thinking, hey, like I'm gonna walk in here and I'm gonna win this time. Like, no, you're never gonna fucking win when you play anything in a casino. That's just not how that works. That's a big hat. Yeah, man. It's kind of my whole thing. It's kind of my whole like personality thing. I really don't have much going for me. Um, but it is what it is, man. I get it. People have a problem. I'm not never trying to downplay that. Besides Bird and Braun, they're the only small forwards that have ever successfully had a franchise built around them. I wouldn't say Dr. J, Moses Malone was just as good as him. Yeah, I mean, I think you're correct there. I'm trying to think of other small forwards. I mean, Kevin Durant, like, I think is a pretty good example of that. Kevin Durant would be another one. I see my own vices that aren't gambling and how hard it is to quit. It's hard to judge them. No, Frank, I'm not even trying to judge it. Like, I understand. Like, I get the idea of it. Like we all have something that like we know we can't quit. It's a very you know to look at it, like, even for me to say that is definitely like a little bit um you know I always just look at it as I don't understand like the gambling issues, like people I don't understand people who have gambling issues like that play like roulette and shit like that. That's my thing. But I also get that it's it's a rush. It's like that the release of the endorphins. I understand that, and I feel terrible for anybody that's sucked into it. Never won a chip without extreme help, though. He wasn't better than Curry and Clay. He was better than Clay Thompson. He was 100% better than Clay Thompson. That's insane. Um, Kevin Durant was probably Kevin Durant might be the best pure scorer of our generation in terms of like a guy that he was built 7 feet tall, moved around like a guard. I don't agree with that at all. That's insane. That's just a crazy take, pork chop. He's far better than Clay Thompson. Steph Curry though, I don't know if he's better than Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry's like I don't Steph Curry should get way more talk in like the greatest of all time discussion in terms of like top five. Um, Bird won a chip with the second best player coming off the bench. McHale and D Wade was good, but Bosch was overrated. He won nothing without joining a 3-chip team. Listen, I'm with you that what Kevin Durant did was soft, but like, pork chop. I think looking at things from a championship perspective, when that's your main argument for anything, I think you're not looking at it as a whole, and you're really not evaluating the talent. I think it's a very lazy way of looking at things. Um, Listen, did Kevin Durant do something very soft by going to Golden State? 1,000%. Like absolutely, especially in terms of the fact that that team the year before, that Thunder team should have been in the NBA Finals. There is no reason the Thunder should not have beaten the the Golden State Warriors. They were the better team that year. And one of the reasons they didn't get there was because Kevin Durant folded in games 5, 6, and 7. He played terribly. Um, but to say he wasn't better than Klay Thompson is ridiculous. That's just awful. Like Kevin Durant deserves way more respect than that. Hi, can you see my chat? I can. A guy named Cumsocks came in here and asked me, "What's up? What's up, man?" To compare these two topics, MJ the fucking goat has gambling issues. That is funny. Like getting involved in all this. And again, when I do the MJ and LeBron debate, my personal thought is LeBron James is the greatest of all time. But I think if you have LeBron James or Michael Jordan, I understand it. I think like either way you can go one or two with Jordan or LeBron. It makes perfect sense. Cumsocks, thank you for the 100. Anybody else? I think it's ridiculous to have up there. I have a very heavy menstrual flow and suffering from terrible cramps. I'm sorry to hear that. Is that a giant hat? It is. Doug, that hat is baller. You should get one. It's a Nugget Boss hat. It's probably one of the best things I've ever bought. Chet and SGA bought a ring to OKC before KD. They're better. They're better Thunder players. I mean, I think SGA for sure. I think even Russell Westbrook is an all-time better Thunder player than Kevin Durant. I don't think that's crazy to say. Kevin Durant's probably by the end of SGA's career probably going to be the third best Thunder Sonics player of all time. But Chet Holmgren's not on that level of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was so good for so long. I think that's just insane. I'm from New Zealand, and even I know Jordan is GOAT. Listen, I have LeBron James number one. I have my reasons. I think you can go either way. I think if you have Jordan or LeBron up top, it's one or the other. Normal small head. Yes, that hat is crazy. Thanks. I was confused. Yeah, it's a little bit oversized. Even MJ says Bird was the GOAT. Was the Jokic of the '80s? Was in high school when it was happening. I mean, again, I don't really care what Michael Jordan says. That doesn't like I get it. He's qualified, but in my opinion, I don't think Larry Bird's up. I think he's very good. I think he's probably top 10 all time. I will say I've seen recent video footage of Larry Bird, and I don't think I ever realized he moved as well as he did. But and definitely better passer than I ever thought he was. But I think by the end of it, Nikola Jokic is probably going to be the greatest player of all time. It's unbelievable what he does on the basketball court. How can you call him the GOAT and not respect his opinion? Come on, listen, I do respect his opinion, but I'm not just going to run with it. I do respect his opinion, but I'm not going to sit here and just say hey, Michael Jordan said it. I gotta agree with it. I don't have to agree with him. I watch basketball too. That's just I can respect his opinion. I don't I'm not gonna take it as fucking gospel. Why did you? Oh my god. Yeah, we're not doing that. Michael Jordan couldn't last in the field though. What do you mean? Are you from Texas? No, New York. Y'all need the metric system. Why do we need the metric system? You guys need to adapt to us. Average a block a game, 6 assists, 30.7 rebounds. No, listen, Larry Bird was far ahead of his time. If you want to look at it for that, he was kind of like the prototype of what certain players today are. And he was a great and listen, Larry Bird's 3-point contest. Larry Bird, if you look at it statistically, wasn't really a great 3-point shooter. You watch cricket? No. He'd be even better today. MJ only played baseball because of his gambling problems. He'd be even better today. I mean, if Michael Jordan, listen, all these guys, if they had the training nowadays, if they had all the facilities and all, and how basketball has become a guy like Mike, back in the day, these guys, I don't think, not saying they didn't take it as seriously, but it wasn't as the training wasn't as intense as it is nowadays, for sure. These guys have what they have today. I'm sure these guys would be just as good as they were in the '80s. I agree with that 100%. If you go pound for pound, if you look at it for what it is, I don't know. I don't think these guys would be as good today. Your Jets hat looks a little tight. Time to buy a bigger one, but yeah, it's a little bit tight. But again, there's this weird toxic culture in the NBA where they try to protect the previous generations for some ungodly reason. Basketball's gotten significantly better. As time goes on, as everything does. Hello, good morning to the world chat. What's going on, Joe? Even Luka still drinks beer and hookah. Well, yeah, Luka Doncic is a different animal, though. Don't you ever disrespect the real Birdman? What do you mean? Larry Bird? I think Larry Bird's top 10 all time. I think he's unbelievable. I think when I look back and see what some of the shit he did back then, it was pretty incredible. Wearing a Jets hat will make you gay. I will take a dump in that hat. You will not take a dump in this hat. As expected, Americans can't play cricket because it needs patience to play. I mean, it's just a boring sport, Tears of Prayer. It's not, it has nothing to do with like, it takes patience. No, it's just fucking boring. Like, it takes like 9 hours to complete a game. I think it's a very skilled game. I think it's like, I understand that it's a very like hard sport and I respect the hell out of it, but I don't watch cricket because like I don't have any reason to. It's not even that. MJ and a lot of the players were just better players. Today's players can't play basketball. I mean, that's just ridiculous. The game has gotten far better today. There are guys that play today that would, if they went back to the 80s, and like some guys who are not even close to top 10 players, if they went back in the 80s, they would have been top 2 all time. I saw some old George Meekin highlights. He was doing full court outlet passes with both Sky in the 40s. Bird is the GOAT, played in the most physical era, dominated. It was not the pork chop. The idea that it was the most physical era is just so stupid and ridiculous because if you go back and watch the footage, it's really not that crazy physically. The game is far more physical today than it's ever been. These guys are stronger, faster than they ever were. It's just ridiculous, and it's just like one guy said it one day and everybody runs with it. Like it's just not the case. It's such a ridiculous sentiment that the 80s were more physical. It's not even close. Today's basketball, the guys are stronger, bigger, faster, far more physical than they ever were. It's ridiculous to even say that. LeBron shouldn't be in the same convo as Bird. I'm not doing this. Like, stop it. You weren't alive, man? I watch it. So when I was alive, you were pissing your pants. It's pork chop. I've watched the highlights. Like, I don't know if you just stopped watching basketball, but it's like it's far more, it's superior today. The game is so much better today than it was, and it's just the nature of the game. And like, I don't know, man. Maybe you need to get your eyes checked when you watch all this shit. Like, I watched the Larry Bird highlights. He was driving to the basket with no issue. Nobody was stopping him. Even like with Big Bad Bill Laimbeer on the court. I watched like 4 plays where Bill Laimbeer didn't do anything. It's insane. Yeah, just because you've done something. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've watched the highlights. I've watched enough basketball back in the day. I've seen enough stuff because I'm like, let me see how physical this shit is. And when I see it, I'm shocked at how unphysical it truly is. Like, again, it's the weird obsession with protecting the previous generation that I don't understand. You're insane. Steph Curry wouldn't have put up the numbers during the. Dude, Steph Curry would have scored 55 points a game in the 80s. Get the fuck out of here. Like, his shooting ability is it's unbelievable how like Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time, and it's not close. Luka's career's highlights would melt people's minds back in the day. There's guys that play today that I think would be in the GOAT conversation if they played in the 80s. There are players that like if Kevin Durant played in the 1980s, he would by a mile be the greatest player of all time. You're defending a league where a guy that averaged 16 points a game drops 80 and you're saying today is the best. I mean, it happens, man. It was a fluke thing. Bam Adebayo had a great game. Like, he had a big game. That's on the fucking Washington Wizards. Like, why is that a problem? Like, that should show you how more skilled the game is today. That shouldn't be the opposite. That shouldn't be proving your point. It should be proving mine. Get this Jets fan a straitjacket? Why? Because you just don't understand. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. Stop it. Stop it. Like, don't sit here and tell me he shot 50 free throws and didn't have a bruise fucking on him. Come on. Didn't have a bruise on him? What are we talking about here? He shot 50 free throws. Like, I'm sorry, are free throws not a part of the game of basketball? Did you watch Pistons, Bulls, Knicks? No, I wasn't alive for that time. And anytime I've watched highlights back in the day, I'm shocked at how unphysical it is. I'm fucking brutally shocked. Basketball is far more superior today and far more physical today than it ever was. You're absolutely outside of your mind. You're just boomers that are trying to protect your era. That's all it is. Every single one of you. You're probably all in your 40s or 50s, and for some ungodly reason, you're trying to protect your era of basketball because you can't like fathom the idea that basketball is better today than it ever was. Steph Curry would have been fucking Like, they probably would have fucking put cinder blocks on him and threw him in the ocean because he was a witch if he played in the 1980s. Go back and watch 80s games. I do, and I can't watch them. They're fucking, it's terrible basketball. It's horrific basketball compared to what today is. NBA brand sucks these days. As a Seahawks fan, I'm hoping Geno shows out for y'all. You know what it is? I don't think Geno's going to show out. The Jets know what they're doing. The Jets got Geno Smith because they know that they're tanking, and Geno Smith is at the end of his career. If Joe's son is my son's father, wait, if Joe's son is my son's father, what am I to Joe? Hold on. If Joe's son is my son's father, you're Joe's son. Joe's your dad. You can tell you a sucker. What do you mean? You're just wrong about history. It's okay. You can't speak on something you didn't live through. See, that's ignorant, pork chop. That's ignorance there at its finest. You're trying to display me because I wasn't alive for it. I've watched enough basketball. I've seen what these highlights are back in the day. I've watched all these packages. I've watched full games. I'll tell you what. You know what was the most stunning thing ever? I watched game. I think it was Game 6 of the 1996 Finals with the Jazz and the Bulls. And the most shocking thing to me watching that game is how unskilled John Stockton is. How John Stockton is really like every single time he was dribbling with his left hand and a double team came, he dribbled the ball off his leg. Like 4 possessions in a row. Like couldn't get out of a double team as like the so-called greatest point guard of all time. I could not believe how like a very simple thing, something that I could do. John Stockton was like pissing his pants in the big moment. You saw 12 games at tops instead of living through seasons. Pork chop again. It's ignorance. You're an ignorant man. Like, I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. Like, you look at if you can watch basketball today and seriously tell me that the game was better back then, you need to get your eyes checked. That's insane. He's the greatest point guard of all time because he played 80 games over 20 seasons, kid. Good for him. Listen, he played a lot of games, and I think that has a lot to do. I will admit that the ability that these guys had back in the day to play a lot more games is 100%. I'm with that. That I think you look at this shit and you see that these guys aren't playing full seasons. I'll admit, like I'm with you that like the durability these guys had in the 80s and 90s was far better. You're playing basketball for a living. You're going out. You're playing basketball. You're one of those them. I won't even engage your corny ass. What I'm one of them. What, Antoine? He is the best. Who is the best? Are you good enough for heaven? What? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let's talk entertainment value. We want to watch Jordan, Bird, Magic. The rivalries ran deep. It goes way beyond the individuals. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you that the game itself in the 90s, like the rivalries, the hatred. I get all that. I'm not. Listen, I don't even think the NBA product is better now. I'm not even saying like entertainment value. You're probably right. Like these guys legitimately hated each other. I'm not. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm arguing the talent on the court is far better today, and it's not even close. Like it's not even like you're telling me they're not more physical than a Wemby today, dude. Victor Wembanyama, if he played in stop, don't bring Wemby into this. Wemby's already like in terms of straight talent all around is there's no doubt in my mind if he stays healthy for his career, Victor Wembanyama is the greatest player of all time. He's a freak. Like he is legitimately what people would do, what people would create in terms of like their created players, like in NBA 2K and shit like that. That's like what Victor Wembanyama is. He's a freak at his size. It's insane. Chet, another one, weighs less than my granddaughter. Chet Holmgren, I don't understand how he bangs around down low. It makes no sense. Who should I agree with, Flay or Pork Chop? Listen, Pork Chop's trying to discredit me because I didn't watch basketball in the 90s. Like, that's all you need to know. That's really all you need to go to is that a guy like, if you watch enough basketball, if you see what you see, like I put on games in the 80s and I'm shocked at at just how unphysical it truly is when a full generation of people are telling me it was more physical basketball back then. It wasn't. It really was not. That's cap. I never created a player taller than 6'9". Well, then you didn't have you never played like the old NBA games on like NBA Live. I would create a guy who was 7'6". I'm not talking about like the My Player stuff. My Player is totally different. Like in 2K, I'm talking like NBA like what was it 2003 NBA Live '03, like where you'd create a guy who's like 7'6" and make him a point guard with all this shit. I would have never created a Victor. Well, that's your fault. Like we all did. I did. I always had like this one guy. I would have him 7 foot whatever the highest height it would be, and make him move around like a point guard because it was just fun. It was straight up fun. Nice hat, man. Thanks. Teams didn't shoot as much free throws as one player shoots today. That tells you it's less physical. No, I think that's again. I think that's a product of the game evolving, pork chop, which sucks. Listen, don't get me wrong. I sit here. There's nothing more annoying than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander going to the line all the time. But you know what that is? That's a product of a guy figuring out the game of basketball. That's how basketball evolves. When you got a guy like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, it's a skill. How good he is at using leverage and feeling guys on his back and being able to create fouls. Because listen, at the end of the day, the free throw is the most efficient shot you're going to get in a game of basketball. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has found a way to get there and make a career out of it, which sucks ass. Trust me, I'm not like I wish the refs would stop calling fouls. Like he genuinely just he's a what do you call it? He uses leverage and shit, which is very very impressive. Like I think it's an impressive feat that he gets to the line as much as he does. But it sucks ass. It sucks the life out of a basketball game. I'm not disagreeing with that. They banned hand check in the 90s to be less physical. They need to bring back stop crying 50 free throws a game. Again, that's just like you kind of just said a bunch of words, pork chop. I don't think anything you really just said had much. I do agree that hand checking should be back, but the free throw thing, that's more so the idea of guys getting bumped, guys figuring out and it's the evolution of the game as a whole. Like it's just the way the game is. Like it's evolving. Guys have figured out hey, this guy is on my hip. If I just stop dead in my tracks and take a jump shot, he's going to run through me. Like it's the evolution of the game, and it sucks. Like I think there should be, I don't know. There's got to be ways they can get around it because I do agree that the amount of these guys get to the line is insane. I'm not defending that, but it's a skill. Let's talk game rigging. Not saying it never happened back in the day, but far less prevalent than these days. I mean, Wolfie, I think it's getting caught more nowadays because, obviously these sports books are way in tune with what's going on. Like, think about this. Like, the whole Emmanuel Clase issue, the reason Emmanuel Clase got caught is because DraftKings got completely, cleaned out by a first pitch ball thing, and it kept happening. That's why, these companies are paying attention. I don't think I would imagine that the rigging of games, obviously today, it's probably almost even, honestly. Because gambling wasn't as prevalent back then, but guys are going to get caught more nowadays because these companies are paying such attention. No need to be disrespectful, Flay. I haven't said anything about you, just the game. Yeah, pork chop. I'm not trying to be disrespectful either. And honestly, when I called you ignorant, it's just I think that's ridiculous to say hey, you weren't alive for that. I think that's an ignorant take. I didn't mean to call you ignorant. I meant more so the take of and I apologize for that. I didn't mean I'm not trying to say anything about you. Pork chop. I like you, and I like these debates. I think it's good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say you were an ignorant person. I'm saying that's an ignorant take to say I wasn't alive. That's just trying to discredit me for I've watched 80s basketball. I just don't think it's I'm not that enthralled by it, and I don't find it to be that physical. But I didn't mean to say you personally. I mean more so the take saying hey man, you weren't alive. So I've watched enough of the 90s and 80s basketball to see what I've seen. And it's shocking to me how untalented it is. Far less prevalent. You live under a rock, my friend. Snapchat promotes FanDuel. Dude, Chris, I'm saying today's gambling is far more prevalent. I'm saying back in the day it wasn't. What are you talking? Open your fucking ears, dude. Jesus Christ. Well, if you ask a kid born in 1999 about Vietnam, who would know more, someone that studied it or someone who lived through it? I mean, if it's somebody that, watched a lot of what went on during Vietnam, I think that's different. I can't watch the Vietnam War, pork chop. I can watch basketball in the 1980s. That's a completely ridiculous, what do you call it? I think that's an insane, what do you call it, combination. I get it. If you say day-to-day life, for sure, that's different. But we're talking basketball. I could watch basketball games in the 1980s. I can't watch cultural impact from that time. Gambling in America is as common as caffeine, it seems. Oh, I see, Chris. Sorry. Yeah, no. Gambling is far more prevalent today, obviously. But I think rigging games back in the day was far easier. But the problem is not as many people gambled. Gambling in America. I see, Chris. I'm sorry.
The 3-point shot has ruined the game. Something that has never part of the original game has completely taken it over. Well, that's the thing, Jay Will. That's another situation of the game evolving and not necessarily for the good. Because I agree with you there. That I think, um, what do you call it? I agree that you know the 3-point shot has made the game far less skilled. I'm with you on that 100%. But the problem is with the game evolving, teams have figured out that it's not efficient to shoot a two when you have a 3-point shot, and that's what's shitty about it. It's analytics and the game evolving. That's all it is. Like watching a TikTok of something, then saying it's the same as reading a 500-page book. Yeah, but I mean, you can't live through the era. You can watch small clips. I've watched full games. I've seen enough. I've watched full games where I've seen stuff where it's like, okay, this really isn't that impressive. Like, I'm sorry. I watched the game when Michael Jordan scored 55 points against the Celtics. Like, I remember watching that on ESPN Classic, and I'm like, these guys aren't that good. I think the biggest thing is the skill. Like a guy like Michael Jordan was much better than the guys around him. That's what made Michael Jordan so great at that time. I think the guys, the players today, especially offensively, like you got guys like your sixth and seventh man, the guys coming off the bench, like have offensive ability. I think the game has evolved in that standpoint. Um, yeah, no, pork chop. Again, I didn't mean to call him. I wasn't calling him ignorant. I think the take is ignorant. Like just trying to like discredit me for not being alive. Like, listen, I played basketball my whole life. I consider myself pretty, you know, I think I know what I'm seeing when I'm watching basketball. Is all I'm saying. That's been my nickname my whole life. My real name's Greg, but the ladies in college called me Third Leg Greg. What's your name? Pork chop so juicy, it's crazy. How many pickles can you fit in your mouth? See, that's the kind of shit that we're here for, Doughboy. Um, Depends what kind of pickle we're talking. The system does it now. They rig it themselves. That's why basketball is hard to watch now. Well, Chris, the problem is you see things every game. Like I feel like you see things in every single basketball game where you're like, wow. And I don't necessarily think it means the games are being rigged. I think it's just like we're paying more attention, if that makes sense. We're paying more attention to this shit because it's all gambling at the end of the day. Um, is it it's e- When I said rigging games, like in terms of like obviously gambling more prevalent nowadays, we're gonna find out more about guys doing things like Emmanuel Classe. It was far easier back in the day when these like companies didn't have, analytics departments figuring out specific bets that they're getting fucking cleaned out on. It's always a fun debate, Fly. We could talk about it real. It never real fun. Yeah, Porcho. Again, I didn't mean to say you're ignorant. I know my language said that. I meant more so like it's a take that like. But yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime, you know that. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy this. I think it's good to have different perspectives from different eras too. I think it's like it's a great debate. Wanted to pop in and chat real quick. Have a great day, Flay, and chat. Joe Waters, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, I think it's great that we can debate because we have different, we live through different eras too. It is a good like different perspective on things too. But I also think like when it comes to basketball, I think like by the end of it, it's incredible what Nikola Jokic does every night. Like he just popped up on ESPN, and I had to say that out loud. That Nikola Jokic, like, it just like I don't know if anybody's ever had the court like even not even LeBron James, and you know how I feel about LeBron James. Like just have like the entire like basically be like the puppeteer of an entire basketball game, like Nikola Jokic. It's insane. People don't rig anything. Learn what's behind the curtain. Um, are you talking smack? Well, I'm just saying in general, like, you know, a lot of things go on behind the curtains. LeBron is racist. Yes, great wizard. What do you mean? Jokic is performing Chamberlain numbers, and for the most part, the NBA tries to sweep it under the rug. It's insane to me. Like, every single night, like, Nikola Jokic is a walking triple double. Like, there was a time where, like, a guy averaging a triple double in the season, where when Russell Westbrook did it, was, like, so unheard of. And Nikola Jokic does it, like, in 3 quarters, and, like, just, it's absolutely ridiculous what Nikola Jokic has been doing as an NBA player. Are you British? No. I love a good jungle beat. Wow. Yeah, Wilt banged thousands of women. Well, Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain put up some numbers, man. Talk about. Well, you want to talk about a guy putting up numbers on and off the court. Um, but what were we saying about the whole like thing with gambling and rigging of gambling? It's like it's something. It's an activity like when people. It's kind of like politics and shit, dude. I wouldn't want to meet the guy in a dark alley. Dude has a twinkle in his eye. Dude, it's kind of the same shit like with like, when you see like a politician that like takes advantage of the stock market with information they know. It's all greed, man. At the end of the day, when somebody's going to have an opportunity to fuck something up, like an Emmanuel Clase who's making millions of dollars, who was the best closer in baseball for a little bit, yeah, they're going to take the opportunity because sometimes, like, when you have an easy source of money, people are going to do it. It's just all greed, man. And that's why, like, obviously gambling is going to be rigged. Obviously, sports betting in some ways, like, people are going to try to take advantage of the system. Like, Celtics Grizzlies had 85 three attempts. Nobody wants to watch that. It's not evolution of basketball. It's just completely different sport at this point. No, it is, Jay Will. It's the evolution of the analytics of a basketball game. It's part of the evolution where guys are realizing like the 2 point shot, and I kind of agree with it. Like, the 2 point jump shot is just hilariously inefficient nowadays. Like, because you're taking a shot where like, you might as well take 2 steps back and take the shot and get a three, or try to get closer and get a better 2 point shot. That's more of what it comes down to. It is evolution. Do you think the 7'9" kid on the Florida Gators will make it into the league? I don't know, man. It's very weird to me that he doesn't play at all. Like, but I don't know. I don't understand that whole situation. Like, why he'd stay at Florida at his size. Like, he should be on the court getting reps. Like, I would go to a school where he's going to play if I were him. Do I think he'll make it? I'm sure he'll at least be in like the G League. Some team's going to take a chance on him as like a project, but 7'9" is crazy tall, man. Like, insane. But it's the same thing with like Taco Fall. Like, Taco Fall was in the NBA, but he didn't move around very well, and that's kind of what derailed his career. Is that you get to that level of the NBA, teams take advantage of that. A guy that doesn't move around well. What does your hat look like backwards? You want to see? This guy just came in here and goes, "Shut the fuck up." Hell yeah. I always admired fans that studied their chosen favorite sport. It's more noble content to consume. Yeah, I love sports in general. That's the biggest cap I've ever seen in my life. Hell yeah. I'm trying to get a bigger one. It is strange he's not playing. It's weird Taco's not in the league. He's definitely good enough to just clog the paint and boards. Well, the problem with that pork chop is there's so many rules that don't allow that. Like defensive 3 seconds nowadays, like you can't just stick a guy like Taco Fall in the paint and because he's got to move out. And because of that, like the movement itself, like Taco Fall is not a very, he's not exactly the most nimble guy on his feet. And like that type of player is being what do you call it? Like kind of phased out of the league. Like, which sucks because he's big, he's tall. It should make sense. It should work. But the problem is a guy like that, you can't really just stuff him in the paint with the rules, and it sucks because he's an abnormal sized human being who's very good at what he does. You saw what he did to Zion Williamson in the NCAA tournament. That UCF team should have won that game because of him. Beat like a very good Duke team. But it's the rules of the NBA and the nature of the NBA nowadays. Where like the game is fast, and these rules kind of take away from these like pure centers, which sucks, man. It is shitty, but it's just like there's certain rules that don't allow a guy like that to succeed. I've seen some big lies. How many wives do you want? One might be too many. Some things need to be changed again. I agree with you, pork chop. You know what sucks is like I don't like the way the NBA is played. Like I don't want to sit here and make it sound like I'm so like I love the NBA. I think the NBA today sucks ass, and like for all the reasons I'm talking about, like the threes, the free throws. Like I don't want to sit here and say like I didn't. When I say superior game today, I mean the guys are just more skilled. Like I don't like the way the game is played today compared to the 90s. I think the 90s style of basketball is far better. I think if the NBA really wanted to help things, they should go to like either FIBA rules. Like I think FIBA rules would be phenomenal. I think like the fact that we're the only league in the world that doesn't play by this set of rules makes no sense to me. I think if we had a FIBA style game, it would be much better. NBA, I could play for that. I'm 6'8". Yeah, but you need to be like move. You need to move and shit. Like I don't think the game today is better. Like in terms of like entertainment wise. I just think the guys on the court are more skilled. Like it's a different argument. Like, but it's just like it's that's why I like college basketball so much more. I could be in the league if I was a foot taller. Again, it's a lot more athletic game nowadays than it was. Like it's tough, man. I don't know. I think if they went to FIBA rules, like I said, FIBA would make things sense. Why do people glorify the 80s and 90s? It was so bad. Say, we just had a whole argument about that. Like, again, like I think the talent pool today. Like the guys are more talented today. The style of basketball back then, like I just think they need to find a way. I'm kidding. I was never a basketballer. Best I have is a sky hook in the post. I was like, dude, when you like, I played against Tobias Harris, right? That's like the claim to fame I have with basketball. When you play against a guy like that and like you see how good these NBA players are, like I totally had a newfound respect for it. Like Tobias Harris was so fucking good and so much better than everybody else on the court. Like when I look at the NBA, I don't look at a guy like, there's no guy that I look at and I'm like, oh, this guy's bad. Like this guy, no, these guys are fucking insanely good. You ever see the video of Costa Kufis like going one on one with a bunch of guys in the gym? That's how fucking good these guys are. Everyone glorifies the times of their youth. Exactly. Yeah. And listen, that's a natural thing. Everybody's going to glorify when they were growing up. Like, even I'll sit here and tell you, like, sometimes I'll think to myself, like, oh, wow, the best pitcher I ever saw was Pedro Martinez because that's what I grew up with. I look back and watch, like, Pedro Martinez pitch, and not that I don't think he could succeed today, but he's definitely not, like, with these guys who are throwing, like, 100 miles an hour every pitch. It is what it is. Like, it's the same thing. I could beat them, sure. Lakers on a run until they met Detroit, but I don't blame them. Yeah, they went on a crazy run. Yeah, it's always good to support your local teams: NHL, NBA, CFL, NFL. Soccer is for the old world. I love how all these sports simulate battle. Yeah, in a way, that's what it is. It's just like battle after battle. It's getting the competitive spirit out. Like everybody has that competitive spirit, and sports is the ultimate way to get it out. I'm watching the 1986 NBA Finals, and the fact that people act like defense was better in the 80s, 90s is objectively wrong. I mean, I'd agree with you, Zay. I think like it's just the idea that like today, everybody in the NBA today is just like it's, and I think physical nature in general. Like I think like the training's harder. It's more so just the evolution of training and everything. Who's your guess for NBA champs this season? Oh, good question. I would say the Spurs. I think if like Victor Wembanyama stays healthy, it's the Spurs. Um, so yeah, Spurs. Who, in your opinion, the worst professional NBA player, past or present? I mean, I think it's fair to say like, like it's fucked up, but it's probably Bronny James. I mean, let's be real. Bronny James would not be in the NBA if it wasn't for his father. Like, I don't think anybody's arguing with that. But no, the thing with, like I said, I think the thing, especially with defense nowadays, is just like these guys, like these players are far more athletic nowadays than they ever were, and like they're stronger, they're faster, and it's just the nature of, the training. That's really all it comes down to. Um, oh my god. But again, I think if some of these guys in the '80s had the training they did today, it'd be a much different thing. Wemby gonna beat Bill Russell's ring number? He's unstoppable. I don't know about that. I don't know if he'll ever beat that number, but like I don't think he's going to beat Bill Russell's rings number, but for sure it's going to be hard, especially this year. I think just the talent that San Antonio has on top of how good Victor Wembanyama is. Are you familiar with Nate Thurmond? I can say that I've seen the name. I can't say I've actually watched him play. I wouldn't sit here and tell you I've watched Nate Thurmond play basketball. I watched Ralph Sampson stand wide open on the elbow for 7 seconds and pass it. You couldn't do that to Cat from half court. No, you're right. Look, and that's the evolution of the game. That's what I was talking about before, Zay, with like a guy like Taco Fall. Like Ralph Sampson worked back in the day because the rules didn't take a guy like him out of the game. Like, you couldn't take a big guy like a guy like Taco Fall can't succeed today because you can't stand in the paint for 3 seconds on defense. Like there's a million things with that. But a guy back in the day, these tall guys, the taller you were, the easier it was. Now you have to be tall and you have to move around. Bill Russell was overrated and had an amazing team for what the league was. Bill was a Mutombo in the 60s and 70s. I tend to agree with that whole thing. Like I don't think Bill Russell like as good at, like don't get me wrong, like Bill Russell was a great player. Like I think, the rings kind of inflate him a little bit. Ralph was really skilled. He'd be good today. He had soft touch and could shoot. Yeah, but he wouldn't shoot like Ralph Sampson was phenomenal. I mean, you see those old videos of like him playing in college, but I wouldn't say he's as skilled as some of the guys today, though. Defense was only better because you could camp in the paint. Are you running cover for the CIA? Great question, Sevi. Sevi Ballesteros. Who the fuck is Sevi Ballesteros? That's what do you call him? Golfer, right? Do I have professional golfer Sevi Ballesteros in my fucking chat right now? Hold on a minute. Time out. That's hilarious. Right? Is Sevi Ballesteros a golfer? What about Nick Smith Jr. or AJ Johnson? I think they're worse than Bronny James. Honestly, I don't know who either one of those people are, so you're probably right. That's phenomenal. I think like Thanasis Antetokounmpo is probably up there too. I used to live in Texas for 19 years. Now I moved out to Lebanon for some work. Now I'm stuck here due to war, but I'm safe. No worries. I'm glad you're safe, but that's quite the move there. Yeah, Texas to Lebanon. Nobody was worried about the three back then. They could shoot. The coaches would take you off the court if you shot three threes in a row. Yeah, pork chop. I think like the 3-pointer has definitely ruined some things about basketball. I think they need to move the 3-point back. Honestly, at this point, I think it's like too prevalent of a shot. Adam Morrison, the stink guy with the mustache that played for Gonzaga. I think Adam Morrison's game. He was one of those guys that was getting phased out at the time because he was like a slow. He was a slow wing player that like it's that was kind of the time when those guys were getting phased out. I think he just showed up in the NBA a little late, but yeah, he was pretty rough. Bronny's a project. He's good in the G League, but it doesn't transfer to the league for some reason. I think Bronny's issue is his offense. I think defensively, Bronny James was a fine player. It's just how often do you get a guy who averaged 10 points a game at USC, a team that didn't make the tournament, being an NBA guy immediately? We had work in the American Embassy. Lebanon is rough. I was stuck in Bahrain. Bahrain. Had to get smuggled to Saudi and fly out. Damn. That's terrible. Like I respect you guys for being there and going out there. I would never go to that area for anything. I would just like. There just seems to be way too much, conflict going on. I would never take a trip anywhere or for any reason there. But good for you guys, man. Yao would be so much better if he played today. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yao Ming. Yao Ming was a little bit early, but again, he was a guy. He just never stayed healthy. I think Yao Ming would have been an all-time great, and he probably still is. Like Yao would be an all-time great if he just stayed healthy. AJ Johnson played for the Mavericks, and yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, but here, like, it's where Hezbollah is located, which is in certain parts. I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I'm just, I just always feel like there's something going on over there that I would just never, I would never go for any reason. But I respect anybody that does. I don't know why he went to USC in the first place. Isaiah Collier was clearly better. Isaiah Collier's turned into a fine NBA player too. Like, I like Isaiah Collier a lot, but I don't know. I think it was all like to stay close to home. I think like the James family, obviously, like they're very involved with everything. Clearly, the whole reason I think the whole reason LeBron went to the Lakers in the first place was so his kids can go to Sierra Canyon. I don't think it had anything to do with him. It always felt like that was more so a move for his children. Did you hear about Kane Velasquez being released? I didn't. I didn't know Kane Velasquez was getting released, but that whole situation is sad. Um, that's one of those things that, like, you would think cooler heads could prevail in a situation, but at the same time, you can't just go around kill. Like, I get why Kane Velasquez had had a complete breakdown in that situation. You can't like. There's a catch-22 of like you can't just be like, hey, Kane Velasquez went and killed somebody because Kane should have never been locked up. Any father would have done. Yeah. Oh, no, 100% pork chop. I'm with you on that. Like, I can understand why he had such a breakdown like that. But at the same time, like, I understand the point of it where, like, you can't just go around killing people no matter what the situation is. But still, I don't think Kane Velasquez should have went to jail for a day. I understand that he had a mental fucking breakdown, and I would too. Anybody would. I'm not trying to say, like, hey, he should be in jail. But, like, it's a hard situation for, like, when you're judging a situation, like I don't know, cooler head should have prevailed in the whole thing, and he never should have spent the day in prison. I'm in agreement 100%. It's a hard situation to be in. Borchard, thanks for the 100. He only did time because he was shooting on the highway, risk of nailing an innocent. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like at some point he had no regard for the people around him. Like it was more so the danger that he posed on other people. I think if he just went to the guy's house and shot him dead, like that'd be one thing. But in a shitty way, it was almost like a terror. Like it was an accidental act of terror in a way. I tell you though, Lebanese food here is making me stay. Otherwise, I'd be on my way back to Dallas. I've had Lebanese food; it's pretty damn good. There's a very like, and it's kind of strange because you would never think of it, but there's like a place down the road from me that's Lebanese food, and I tried it one day. Not bad. Never a girlfriend again, never watching or doing basketball again. What would you pick? Ooh, probably never a girlfriend. Kane about it in such a stupid way. That's what it comes down to. Like what it comes down to is the way it happened and the fact that like he put people at risk. Like whether doing something like that, the way he did it, something had to be done. Should have just followed him home. Yeah, if he just made it home, he just followed him home. Did like, and I'm not saying there's a proper way to kill somebody. I'm not trying to do that by any means, but you know, at some point, like you had to look at it for what it was. That the situation came to it where people could have been in danger for what he did, and it just sucks. You think Larry Bird? How does he rank in your opinion? Should have followed him home. It sucks, man. And like, anybody like Pork Chop said, anybody in the same situation would have done the exact same thing. Like, although when I think about it, hear me out. I look at this like Kane wouldn't kill that guy. Kane Velasquez wouldn't kill that guy for what he did, right? I look at it that these people would have such a harder time. I'd rather these people stay alive and be in prison. Like, if somebody did that to me and did that to somebody I know, I would much rather them be in prison and have to live the rest of their life than I feel like dying in that situation is the easy way out. Who who's your personal NBA MVP of all time? Your personal goat. My personal goat. I mean, I would have like. It depends how we look at this, Frazier, because it's hard. There's so many different ways to look at it. Fart noise, hell yes, Slicky Rob. I think, to me, I think LeBron James is the best player I've ever seen. But in terms of MVP, if you're going most valuable player, I'd have a hard time saying it's not already Nikola Jokic. Like, I think Nikola Jokic should have like 6 MVPs already. But Michael Jordan's obviously in that conversation too of like all-time MVP. I mean, you look at like, Michael Jordan took a year off and the Bulls, didn't make the NBA Finals. But I think the same thing would happen with almost any team that loses their best player. I just think when I look at Nikola Jokic, I think he should have won the MVP every single year. Pretty high, but I haven't watched many of his games yet. That's a big ass hat, yeah, man. Unfortunately, it's a hate crime if you target chomos. They get put in isolation. I was county hard for 20 years. Damn. Yeah, I mean that's pretty fucked up. I know how that works. Like, I know they protect like the child molesters in prison. I understand they have to, because like at the end of the day, you know, once these guys get into prison, which like it's just the way it is, their crime doesn't necessarily matter as much once they're in there from like the perspective of a an officer, a fucking corrections officer. Like, they have to protect everybody the same way. I get that. Jets fan, rip. Yeah, it sucks, mate. It sucks, makes. But you know what? We get through it. Guard, not hard. I was gonna say, you made it sound like you were a like you were in there, like you did 20 years in the county. Like, but yeah, no, I understand that perspective of it. Like, once these guys get there, you can't like, you know, your job is to house these people, not like judge them based on what they did, and you got to keep them safe. I understand that part of it. Like, but still, them living in constant fear. I think I'd rather them do that. Voter fatigue is so annoying. Just give it to the best player. Absolutely. Yeah, Zay, 100%. I'm with that 1,000,000%. It's like people are like, hey, we don't want to give Nikola Jokic another MVP. Why not? He was the MVP again. Like, it's the same thing with like they screwed over Kobe bad in 2007. Same thing. Sadly, basketball isn't big over here in Germany. Otherwise, I'd definitely pursue a career. I'm surprised by that. I would think like a guy like Dirk, would make basketball more superior. Unfortunately, yeah, pork chop. I get all that though, man. Like, you can't as a corrections. I'm not a corrections officer myself. I have friends who are, but I get it. Not all crimes are the same. I think if you don't protect the firebug, you shouldn't protect the kitty. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I 100% agree with you, pork chop. I think like, it's a shitty thing, but it's just the way the prisons run. And it's the way the prisons like, they have to run, because at the end, like it's shitty. These people are terrible people, but they do have basic human rights to be safe when they're being housed in a prison. Like, it's just the way it is. Your biggest NBA hot take? That's a great question. My biggest NBA hot take. Oof. I don't know. I have a lot of them. Yeah, we heard about Dirk Nowitzki, but that basically all the news we got for basketball, unless you go to a very niche sports channel. That makes sense. I'm just surprised. I felt like Dirk would have brought basketball over there a little. Steve Nash, overrated or underrated? I think Steve Nash is criminally underrated. Like, Steve Nash had a lot of very good years. And like, I just feel like he doesn't get talked about enough. Like, the late 2000s, he was the best player in the league for like almost 3 years. Like, he won 2 MVPs, could have won a third. Minus Kyrie is extremely overrated. I don't think it's a hot take, but I agree with that. I don't think Kyrie Irving, like, I think Kyrie Irving, like, skill wise, his ball handling ability is probably better than anybody we've ever seen. But like, there's not much other than that. Your hat, yeah, Mikey. Who'd you pick starting a team, Jason Kidd or Steve Nash? That's tough. That's a really good question because, like, I almost feel like Steve Nash and Jason Kidd were like extremely similar in a lot of ways. Jason Kidd was like a little bit bigger body and probably a better defender. So I'd probably go Jason Kidd. But Steve Nash offensively, like, I also think Steve Nash was a product of where he was. Like, I think Mike D'Antoni was so good for Steve Nash. I think they had the perfect, like, D'Antoni, Amari Stoudemire, Steve Nash. I think it was just absolutely perfect. What's it called? Personnel for the coach that they had. Have you ever squished an ant and then smelled your finger? Can't say I have. No. That's crazy, though. That's an insane question. Never been a top 3 point guard any season in his career. I'm with you on that, Zay. I don't think that's a crazy take. Maybe not be a hot take, but Jason Kidd was Russell Westbrook in the early 2000s. Yeah, I agree. I think Jason Kidd, like, in a different way. I think Russell Westbrook's a little more hectic. And, like, a lot of the things Russell Westbrook did made it look better, probably, like, just in terms of, like, for a highlight tape. But Jason Kidd, I think 100%. I think that's a great take. Pacers finally won a game. You know what's going to suck is the Pacers are about to get a top 5 pick, and then they're getting fucking Halliburton back. It's just such a fucking mess. Like, I'm a Knicks fan. What was your biggest personal upset in NBA recent history? Biggest upset? I mean, I think for me, the Toronto Raptors beating the Golden State Warriors. What was that? 2019. Like, that Warriors team was so good. I know Kevin Durant got hurt, but the Raptors had that series. Like, even if Kevin Durant was healthy, like, the Raptors dominated that series. People don't talk about it, but DeAndre Jordan longevity is crazy for a big man with only. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. DeAndre Jordan's ability to stay in the league as long as he has, is really incredible. But I think that's his athleticism. That's just like that's what we're talking about before, Pork Chop. Like how a guy like Taco Fall can't stay in the league, but a guy like DeAndre Jordan can. Is because DeAndre Jordan can move as well as he can. Like, he's like a freak athletically at his size. He doesn't do much offensively. He's not very gifted with, like, the ball in his hands, but I think the idea is, like, when you need a big man to go out there and grab rebounds and, like, play competent defense, a guy like DeAndre Jordan always fits. Like, that's why I think the same thing with Taj Gibson, why he keeps coming back. Like, it's these guys are athletic freaks at their size and not necessarily needed offensively. But yeah, it's a lot. I got about another 40 minutes before I got to get ready for work. This has been fun today, man. Had a good conversation. I wasn't expecting this to be a full sports talk today, but hey, we're here. I love it. I'm happy about it. Fucking know me. I love sports, man. Oh, God. Post-child, Fred VanVleet was a problem. Fred VanVleet, like, it sucks that he's hurt this year, man, but he had such a good year a year ago. And obviously that year, when they beat when he was on Toronto and they beat Golden State, like, he was giving Steph Curry fits that series. Do you go to sports bars? I do. I love a good sports bar. I think it's the best place on the planet. What should the next parlay be? What should my next parlay be? You know what? The one of one extreme. I'm a big believer of parlay. Like, I think parlays are fun in small numbers, but I wouldn't. I'd stay away from parlays as much as possible. But you know, make it a lottery. If you're gonna make a parlay, make it something that, like, could win you like thousands of dollars. Like, and keep it small. Like, keep the number you wager small is what I'd say. Larry the Libtard comes in here saying, "Cap, what's going on, Larry? How we doing, man?" What's up? And another hot take is that KD did more for Curry's legacy than Curry did for KD's. I don't disagree with that. Like, I think, listen, when I look at Steph Curry, I think Steph Curry is probably one of the most influential basketball players of all time, and definitely top 10 all time by the time it's done. I think he gets disrespected a lot, but I do agree that, like, Kevin Durant came in and made things for, like, Steph Curry, at least a couple times, even when they won the title in 2015. When they beat the Cavs with, like, the Cavs that were, like, struggling. Steph Curry did not show up that series. Like, Steph Curry is probably one of, like, at that time, had a bunch of rough series. I'd agree with the nobody slanders Curry for people wanting to play with him. Yeah, exactly. Nobody gives Curry the same shit. Like, but Steph Curry, like, 2015 against the Cavs, like, no showed that series. Andre Iguodala won the Finals MVP. Like, it took until they beat the Celtics in 2022 for me to say like, wow, Steph Curry really finally had his moment. But at the same time, Steph Curry changed the game the way it is today. The reason guys shoot so many threes is because of Steph Curry. When you look at it, Curry gets all the credit, but Katie gets all the hate. No player in NBA history has gotten more lucky with injuries than Curry. Yeah, I mean, hottest take: Kobe Bryant wasn't that good. See, Frazier, I think there's two things to this. I think people discredit Kobe a little too much because Kobe was phenomenal. Like Kobe was unbelievable. Like, but I also think like people have Kobe at this level that I don't know if he was. Like I don't think Kobe was a top. I don't know if he was a top 5 player of all time, but he was fucking unbelievable. Like Kobe was had that killer instinct, and it was more so his ability at the end of the game to take over. And I don't know. Kobe was super talented, but I also think like when I agree with you on that take that he wasn't that good is that I find it ridiculous when people put him ahead of LeBron James. Like that's more of what I'm saying. I think he was like that next tier after like the top tier of guys like you got Jordan, LeBron. I would even throw maybe even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that mix. But I think Kobe's like that next tier. I don't think he's like. I'd agree with you there. Hakeem Olajuwon could have been the best big man of all time. I agree with that. Hakeem Olajuwon, like he was another one ahead of his time. 2022 all Western teams were hurt. No, you're right. Like Steph Curry's definitely gotten bailed out a bunch of times. Like Chris Paul getting hurt before Game 7. What was that? 2019. Like that Rockets team was giving them the fucking business. Chris Paul had Steph Curry in a fucking vice grip. Shaq was the one, and Kobe was super inefficient and played horrible in the finals multiple times. But when he was hot, he was different. You're right. Kobe, when he had it, was unfucking believable. Yeah, Kobe was good, but he wasn't as good as people make him seem. Thought, may he rest in peace. All-time leader, blocks and steals, averaged 20 in his career. Yeah, I mean, again, this was like a little bit before my time, but my parents, you asked my parents about Hakeem Olajuwon. My mom and dad, massive Knicks fans. Like, they'll tell you Hakeem Olajuwon, they'll tell you they were more afraid of him than they were of Michael Jordan, and like in different ways. Obviously, Michael Jordan was ridiculously good, but like my mom to this day would tell me like Hakeem Olajuwon was the best player she ever watched because he fucking gave Patrick Ewing fits. But obviously, I'm not saying Hakeem Olajuwon was better than Michael Jordan. I'm just saying from like my parents' perspective. One of the most talented centers of all time. Patrick Ewing's underrated. Starks is why the Knicks don't have a '90s ring. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I think like the Patrick Ewing doesn't get enough credit for how much he carried the Knicks year after year because you look at the guys around him. Like those guys, the reason John Starks even gets talked about is because he happened to be taken by the Knicks at the same time that Patrick Ewing was. I don't think anybody would give two shits about John Starks if he wasn't, if he didn't play at the same time as Patrick Ewing. Like, I think he's like one of the most, in terms of Knicks history, like he gets brought up a lot. Hey, John Starks is here at the game. Like, who cares? I don't give a fuck. Like, the guy was not that good. Definitely one of the most talented centers. Oh yeah, Hakeem Olajuwon, dude. I tell the story. I've told the story on stream multiple times, but I think one of my favorite Hakeem Olajuwon stories is the one that like how he ended up going to Houston for basketball. I'm sure you guys have heard this a million times, but when he came to the States, when he flew to the States, he flew into JFK Airport in the winter, right? And I think he was visiting St. John's, Yukon. It was St. John's, Yukon. I think it was Michigan State. I want to say. I know St. John's and UConn were two of them. St. John's, UConn, no, St. John's, UConn, Syracuse, and Houston were the 4 schools that were looking at him, right? And he got to JFK Airport. He went outside, and it was so fucking cold that he went back in the airport, and he asked like some lady. I think it was he asked somebody who like he found somebody that spoke his language, and he asked like which one of these 4 cities has the best weather. And when they told him Houston, he like committed on the spot to Houston. He was like, I'm not dealing with this cold weather. Like he was absolutely not. No, John Starks is equivalent to J.R. Smith in his 2 hot seasons. Absolutely. Hot take, Nikola Jokic is my MVP. I'm with you on that. Frazier, I said the same thing. I think all time, Nikola Jokic is probably the most valuable player ever. Just because of what he does on offense. It's absolutely absurd how good he is on offense. I saw Richard Jefferson talking about how scoring inflation and how he finished 7th in scoring at 20 points per game. But Jerry Stackhouse averaged 30 and he finished 17 in MVP voting. 2001. Richard Jefferson, I like listening to Richard Jefferson talk. Giannis Antetokounmpo also up there, the Greek freak. Yeah, I don't know. Giannis to me is a weird situation. I don't find Giannis to be that talented, but he's like such a freak. Like like if you could do what you did in the '90s, I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is a guy that backwards. Like I think he fits very well today because of the rules against defense. Like I think he's a very rare breed where I don't think he would be as good in the '90s. You have to look up Nate Thurman. He's probably the scariest looking basketball player. He could have been a pro bodybuilder. I have to look him up. I've heard of him. I don't know anything about him. Is Giannis already the third best power forward of all time? I don't know about that. Probably. I mean, Giannis has done some great things in the NBA, but I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is like a classic. Like I don't know. People said he would have scored 70 in the '80s. I don't know about that. Like I just don't think he was. Like I think his biggest thing is his athleticism. Is this New York? It is New York, Mike. I like that we just did a whole sports discussion today. I was not expecting this. Giannis got it all: strength, speed, agility, size. He doesn't have the shooting ability. Like that's the one thing. Like the actual basketball stuff. Like if you could just like stand in the paint and let Giannis shoot over and over again, you would, but you can't. Oh man, getting fucking tired. I might put my head down and take a nap for a little bit, but I'd take Garnett, Dirk, Duncan, Bob Pettit, Elgin Baylor over Giannis. If they didn't have the rules they had today, he wouldn't be as good. I'm with you on that. I actually think Giannis is one of the few guys that I think is in the right time frame. I think there's certain guys like I think if Steph Curry played in the '80s, he would be much better. I think like a lot of these, and like obviously Steph Curry's still great. Like I think a guy like Giannis, like if you could just pack the paint against a guy like Giannis, I don't think he'd be as good because you just make him shoot over and it would never work. Like I think he's a guy who is in the right time. Am I wrong for thinking Giannis is clearly better than Dirk and Garnett? No, I don't think you are. Like I think also it's another thing product of the the era. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo is phenomenal because of the era he plays in. Like I don't think you can fault the guy for his era. So I do think he's better than most. Like I'd probably take Giannis over most of those guys. I'm just saying I don't think he's as talented as people put him out to be. Hello, Flay. Hope you're having a great day. Bacon from Roblox. What's up, man? Kawhi Leonard, best forward. Changed my mind. Kawhi Leonard could stay healthier. Like Kawhi Leonard would be a far better player. But I also don't think Kevin Garnett was that good. Like I think Kevin Garnett gets like, you know, gets a little bit overinflated for how good he was. He was good. Like he was a solid player, but I don't know. I think he was a very, very good basketball player who had a hot temper. Like, and I think that's what like. People remember Kevin Garnett. Like, I don't think Kevin Garnett was all that. Like, very good defender, very good mid range, power forward. Did all the right things. He was a very good basketball player for a very long time. I don't know if I'd put him in the greatest power forward debate. That's just me. With Garnett, at least. Dirk, different story. But all right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna come back later tonight. Bird and Dirk as a forward duo with Mutombo in the paint. Doesn't matter. The guards. I'd bet the house they win a chip. Well, yeah, they were both like for their size, pork chop. Like they were so skilled at like how big and like, it's just impossible to defend guys like that. I don't disagree. It depends the era too. But guys, have a good day. I'll see you later.